everyone, and welcome to my channel Cakes by MK. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a really cool mirror glaze cake, which you can literally see your own reflection in. Also, if you're new to my channel and you enjoy my content, then please click the subscribe button below and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that you're updated whenever I upload a new video. But apart from that, stay tuned and I hope you guys enjoy this video. So the first step to making our mirror glaze today is to mix together some white granulated sugar, sweetened condensed milk and some water in a saucepan and bring that to a simmer over medium heat. And I'll have the full quantities to all the ingredients in today's video in the description box below. So while our mixture is heating up, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to bloom our gelatin. And the way you do that is really easy. You just put your gelatin powder into some water and then let that sit for a few minutes until the gelatin swells up. Alright, so our mixture's come to a simmer now, so I'm just going to take it off the heat and then put our bloom gelatin inside and mix it together until it's fully combined. So the reason why we bloom gelatin is so that it's easier to mix into whatever mixture you're putting in, so in this case our condensed milk mixture. So because we bloomed it beforehand, it should melt in quite quickly. So the gelatin has fully dissolved now, and now the next step is to put this hot mixture over some white chocolate, and we're going to let that sit for about 5 minutes to give the chocolate some time to melt. So our mixture's been sitting for about 5 minutes now, and now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to grab a whisk and I'm going to slowly mix it until the chocolate is fully melted, and this may take a couple of minutes. And you want to mix this quite slowly because you want to prevent any air bubbles from getting into your mixture. So our chocolate's all melted now and we're left with this really nice silky smooth mixture. And now the next step is to color it. So you can go ahead and use whatever colors you like. You can mix it up, you can do multiple different colors. Today I'm going to go for kind of like a blue and white color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix some of it with some white food coloring, and then I'm also going to make 2 different tones of blue. Alright, so we've got our 3 different colors now. I've got white, I've got a light blue, and then I've also got a darker blue. And now what we're going to do is we're going to let these cool. So they should cool to around 30 degrees Celsius. But if you don't have a thermometer, then what you can do is you can get your hand and just put it up against the side of the bowl. So it shouldn't be warm, but it shouldn't be cold either. It should be at room temperature. Yeah, and also if you notice that you've got quite a few air bubbles in your mixture, then you can put it through a fine sieve and then you'll be good to go. So I'm just going to let these cool down now, and then we're going to be back to do the fun part, which is the pouring. So our glaze is at the correct temperature now, which means that we can go ahead and pour it onto our cake. Now you can literally pour this over any cake you like. It can be a cheesecake or a mousse cake. Today I've got a buttercream cake, but the key thing is to make sure that your cake is really, really cold. So my cake's been sitting in the freezer for about 45 minutes, so it's really, really nice and cold and ready for our glaze to be poured onto it. And the reason why you want your cake to be really cold is because that's what's going to help the glaze set once we pour it over the cake. Now when it comes to pouring the glaze onto the cake, you can do this in so many different ways. It's really, your chance to get creative here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix the colors into this little jug that I've got, just to make it easier to pour over it. And then I'm just going to swirl it around a little bit, and then I'm going to pour it over the cake. Cool, so I've given our glaze a little stir. It's looking really cool, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour it over the cake. Now, as you can see here, I've got the cake sitting on a cup. You can sit it on whatever you have, anything that's smaller than the cake, but that's going to keep it stable. And then I've also got a tray on the bottom which is going to catch any of the excess glaze which falls off from the cake. So our mirror glaze is on our cake now, and now we're going to leave it for about 15 minutes to set before we come back and clean the bottoms of the cake. So our glaze has been setting for about 20 minutes now, and now we can go ahead and start cleaning up the little drips on the bottom of the cake. So the way that you do that is really easy. You just grab a little spatula. You can even use a knife, anything like kind of flat like that you've got at home. And then all you do is you're just going to slowly drag the drips into the middle of the cake. So I've cleaned the bottoms of the cake, and now the next step before I put it onto our cake stand is I'm going to put some desiccated coconut onto the bottoms of the cake. Now this is totally optional, but I'm just doing it just because I like the look of something around the edges of a mirror glaze cake. And if you've noticed, I actually moved the cake onto a different plate as opposed to the one I was sitting on before, which had all the excess glaze on the bottom. And the reason for that is because that excess glaze, I actually took it all off and put it into a container and just put it into the fridge, so you don't have to chuck it away. You can just keep it in the fridge and then just warm it up next time you want to use it. So yeah, so now when I put my desiccated coconut onto the sides of the cake, it's not going to fall onto any of the excess glaze that would have been at the bottom. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and do that now, and I'm just going to use my hands to gently put it around the sides of the cake. So I've got the coconut on the bottoms of the cake now, and now the next step is to move the cake onto a cake board or a cake stand. So this can be quite tricky because you can't really touch the cake anywhere, but the way that you do that is you get two large spatulas, you put them on the bottom of the cake, and then you use that to lift up the cake and then move it onto your cake board or your cake stand. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that now. Okay, cool. So I've successfully got the cake onto the cake stand, and now the next step is to just finish decorating it however you like. You can even leave it just like that. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to finish up with sprinkling some silver glitter on the top. So the mirror glaze will take a couple of more hours to completely set, so just pop it into the fridge for a few hours and then you'll be good to go. But apart from that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe for more videos like this, and thanks again for watching Cakes by MK.